Ladies, we are here tonight, and tonight we are gonna talk about. We are about 3 weeks. I believe it was on February 10th, the trading deadline. So we are sitting at about 3 weeks since this happened, and obviously the biggest flashes were Kyrie Irving going to the Mavericks, Kevin Durant going to the Suns, and then Westbrook getting traded to Utah, then getting released and going to the Clippers. Those are probably the biggest three moves. The Lakers also made some good moves, but nothing. I don't think if anything, it's going to help their chemistry. Um, but these three teams I'm going to focus on, like the Clippers, the Mavericks, and the Suns. And I think what we saw this year was something we never seen before, and that's three Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, were moved. In Westbrook, Durant, and Irving. I don't know if we ever seen that. You always see a bunch of activity, a bunch of trades, but I don't know if we ever seen three future Hall of Famers get moved, especially two of them from the same team, and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. My thing is it smart to acquire a big star like this in the middle of the season where you don't have the off season to try to sit down and talk with the coaches and the players? How are we going to play together? Have the preseason, the training camp to try to, try different stuff to see what works, what doesn't work. I feel that it's kind of risky in the regular season to make a huge splash, like adding one of this big stars. And I think you're seeing it from the Clippers and the Mavericks. Man, they look like they're taking a step back instead of forward. Now, maybe what you hope is you're taking one small step forward and take one big giant step forward. Once, so what did I find? But anyways, right now, I mean, I've been watching so I watched at least two examples of the Mavericks where there was a game they played. I forgot who it was a few weeks ago, and they had to take the final shot. And I think it was designed to be for Luka, but then he passed it to Kyrie, and Kyrie didn't know what to do with it. He knew if to pass it back to Luka. He couldn't even get a shot off. I think he ended up losing the ball, and not even a shot was attempted because I think they're like, you take it, and nobody took the final shot. And then a few nights ago, was it last night or a few nights ago? Same thing. You see Luka dominating the whole game with 39 points. And then in the fourth quarter, they start going to Kyrie Irving, and they have Kyrie Irving take the final shot of the game, and he misses it. And they lose, I believe it was to the Indiana Pacers. But the whole game, they were going to Luka, and then at the end, they just went to Kyrie. And he made, I mean, Jesus Christ, man. It seemed like Jason Kidd, it almost seems like he trusts Kyrie Irving more, especially late in the game, because that's twice where they've been in close games and Kyrie's going with the ball at the end. And he's kind of taking some shots at Luka, saying he's got a very veteran team, but he keeps saying this team has got to mature. And a lot of people are saying he's taking a shot at Luka because it's a veteran team. The only young kid, I bet Luka's 23, 24 years old. Everybody else is in their 30s. So even Kyrie's up there, he's I think late 20s, early 30s. So he's kind of low key taking a shot at Luka. And then I think he said they asked him, I think it was the Lakers team on Sunday, hey, how come you didn't take a timeout when the fucking lead was evaporating? He's like, I'm just watching like you guys. I'm just watching like you. So it seems like he's kind of getting fed up. I don't know if it's with the whole team or with Luka. There was also said something about they're not listening in timeouts. So what's the point of calling timeouts? I don't know, man, but Luka is starting to. First it was Kristaps Porzingis, right? It didn't work out. They couldn't get along. Okay. But then you bring in Jalen Brunson, and I thought it worked. It really worked. They went all the way to the Western Conference, but you're seeing how much better Jalen Brunson is than we thought. We thought he was like a nice B C player. I mean, you can argue he's a star of that player. I mean, some people might say it's Julius Randle, but I feel on most nights I feel like the guy who controls that whole offense is Jalen Bronson. I mean, he's for sure better than RJ Barrett, and I would say he's better than Julius Randle. I would say it's Jalen Bronson, then it's Julius Randle, and then third is RJ Barrett. But it looks like he's a lot better than we thought, man. And he couldn't display that in Dallas because of Luka holding onto the ball too much. And now we're kind of seeing it a little bit with here in the beginning with Kyrie, how he's once again struggling. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's too early. It's only been like 3 weeks. But you're seeing there's some problems there. I think the chemistry's messed up right now. And that's something like I seen that, like I said, that Pacers game was a great example how they went to Luka the whole game. And then in the fourth quarter, especially in the final minutes, they started going to Kyrie, and he was kind of cold. Luka was the one in a rhythm, and they just went off. They just said, no, we want Kyrie to take us home. And Kyrie, you know, it was a good shot, but he didn't make it. And I'm like, you should just gone to Luka. Luka, he had 39 points. He was the hot hand. So I don't know, man. I mean, the thing about this move is that he is a free agent at the end of the season, so they could move on. They could even maybe try to negotiate a sign and trade with another team. They were maybe saying that Anthony Davis and Luka might be a better fit because it's a forward with a guard, and that might be a better fit. So you know, Anthony has like the paint to himself, and then Luka has the, you know, outside the paint, you know, the perimeter to himself. Maybe that might work better. And how LeBron obviously already won a championship with Kyrie Irving, so that was something that was talked about. So that is a good sign if you're a Mavericks fan or part of the Mavericks franchise, that you're not stuck with this if it doesn't work. But at the same time, it's like, are 2-3 months enough to see if the experiment worked or not? Do you maybe offer him a 1-year contract to try to run it back next year with a full season, a full preseason, a full training camp? I don't know what to do if you're Mark Cuban. Let's see if they can continue to figure out here the next few weeks. But right now, it's looking like there's definitely some chemistry problems. And it's looking like at least Jason Kidd, the coach, is trying to make Kyrie Irving their closer. And I don't know if Luka likes that or not. And then same thing over there with the Clippers, right? Westbrook, man. I think it was on Sunday versus Denver. He kind of got set. He got set down at the end of the game, and he got benched. I believe Terrence Mann was the point guard at the end, or was it Gordon Hayward, or what's his name? Aaron Gordon, what the fuck his name is? Aaron Gordon. And Westbrook went all the way to the end of the bench, almost like pissed off. He's already, I mean, dude, you only been on the team for like a week and you're already pissed off. But man, again, they lost to the Nuggets in overtime. They barely beat the Sacramento in double overtime, and then they lost to the Timberwolves. It is also not looking that good. Now, I thought that would work more because Kawhi and Paul George are more like scorers, and they rely on their jump shot. So I thought it would maybe work more where, okay, Westbrook can be the facilitator, but he could also be the guy that drives in the paint and tries to score. But so far, it appears that there are problems. Like I said, in that Nuggets game, Ty Lue kind of set him down at the end, and he put Man in to try to close out the game. I didn't watch the game versus Minnesota, but apparently there were some mistakes. There were definitely some mistakes there by Westbrook. I have not seen enough with the Clippers as much as I've seen with the Mavericks. Outside of that Nuggets scheme, I haven't seen much. So I don't have as much with I can't give you as much of a take with Irving on the Mavericks as I can with Westbrook on the Clippers. But yeah, for what I saw, I don't think it's as bad as a fit as it was with the Lakers with LeBron and Anthony Davis, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. They lost to the Nuggets, they lost to the Timberwolves, and they barely beat the Sacramento Kings. So that's another one that might not work out. We got to give it time. But man, I just feel like some of these teams to go really high risk. I think it's okay to maybe make a tweak, add a role player, maybe even a starter, but like a role player starter, like a PJ Tucker, or what they did with Aaron Gordon. But to go get a Kyrie Irving and a Russell Westbrook in the middle of the season, I just don't know if that's smart for your chemistry. Now, Kevin Durant with the Suns, I think that's different because he's not really a high usage guy. Kevin Durant, like, he's gonna let Chris Paul run the point guard. He's even gonna occasionally let Devin Booker run the point guard. Kevin Durant, man, all he needs is he just runs, gets in, whether it's a 3-point line or at the on the baseline at the top of the key. Give me the ball. I don't even need to dribble it. Catch and shoot. He's just a shooter. He's a shooter. He's not going to really dribble, and everybody's just thinking they're like a pendejo, waiting to see what he's going to do. Is he going to pass it off? Is he going to try to drive it in? Or is he going to step back and shoot? No, Durant is very simple. He just catches the ball and he shoots. So I think that one's easier. It's very simple to understand what Kevin Durant's game plan is. So I think that's going to work. Now, if they were to add Chris Paul in the middle of the season, then that could be a little bit more of a problem. But because it's Kevin Durant, he's just such a simple, just catch the ball and shoot. But with Kyrie, dribble, try to cross you over, going to drive it in, or I'm going to step back. What are you going to do? Same thing with Luka. Dribble. Westbrook, what is he going to do? Is he going to try to pass it and try to get an assist? Is he going to drive it in? Or maybe a lot of times he'll drive it in. He's going to look like he can go for a layup, and at the end he passes it off. He throws it away because the team is like, oh, I thought you were going to just drive it in all the way in. No, at the end, it's like it's harder to get used to playing with them in the middle of a season without having that training camp to try to get used to them, to try to get used to their style. So I think the Durant one, if anything, would work because of how simple he plays. But the other two, Westbrook on the Clippers and Kyrie on the Mavericks, I'm not too sure. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I'm out. Holla.